Hari Om. In this part, we will explore the meaning of the 16th Shloka of Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam. Brajishnur bhojanam bhokta sahishnur jagadadijaha anagho vijayo jeta vishvayonihi punarvasuhu. Now, let's examine the meaning of this shloka. Brajishnuhu means one who is effulgent. Bhrajate iti brajishnuhu tatshilaha, meaning one whose nature is to shine. Sri Adi Shankara says, Prakashaika rasatvat brajishnuhu, meaning he is the essence of brilliance. In Mundaka Upanishad it says, Na tatra surya bhati, na chandra tarakam, na ema vidyutaha bhanti kutoyam agnihi, tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam, tasya bhasha sarvam idam vibhati. Meaning, not the sun, not the moon and the stars, not even the fire or lightning provide the energy to Brahman. That alone, when it lights up, everything gets lit. Everything that shines, shines because of him. The radiance in the sun, the light in the moon and the stars arise only because of his effulgence. Every other object merely reflects his light. Sri Parasara Bhattar comments that it is Bhagavan's nature to show himself to his devotees. Sri Radha Krishna Shastri points out that we see objects because of the light that makes them visible, and we see the light only because it gets scattered by the objects. But Bhagavan is pure effulgence, without any association with any object, and this is probably why the non-devotees don't see him, though he makes himself visible to his devotees. Bhojanam means one who is the object of enjoyment. Taihi bhujyate sukhena anubhuyate iti bhojanam. Bhagavan is bhojanam because he is enjoyed with pleasure by his worshippers. Bhojanam literally means food or the means of sustenance. The Arvas in their pasarams have described the Lord as honey, sugarcane, jaggery, nectar, etc. In nature, even though one object becomes the means of sustenance of another object, he is the one who maintains this balance and sustains everything. The Vedantic interpretation for Bhojanam is that it's the collection of all objects of enjoyment by the sense organs. He makes the objects of this world fit for enjoyment, and he also becomes the object of enjoyment himself when his devotees overcome the desire for material objects of enjoyment and long for him. According to Adi Shankara, Bhojanam is another name for Maya or the worldly illusion. Since Bhagavan is the originator of this force of Maya, he is called Bhojanam. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 14, Bhagavan says, Daivi hyesho gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prabhatyante maya metam tarantite. Meaning, this divine Maya of mine, consisting of three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Bhokta means the enjoyer. Bhunkte iti bhokta means he is the one who enjoys. Like a mother enjoying the company of her children, he enjoys the company of his creations. He enjoys the offerings of his devotees. He enjoys their yagyas. He is the bhokta for all the sacrificial offerings, irrespective of the deity to which the offering is made. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 24, Bhagavan says, Aham hi sarvayagyanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha, meaning, I am the enjoyer of all sacrifices and I am the Supreme Master. In chapter 9, verse 26, Lord Krishna says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upahritam asnami prayatatmanaha. Meaning, if a devotee offers to me a mere leaf, flower, fruit or water with sincere devotion and love, I accept it as invaluable treasure. Bhagavan enjoys the offerings by his devotees and values it like a treasure. Let's look at a few stories now to appreciate this aspect of the Lord. The first one is the story of Andal, who is also known as Sudi Gudutta Sudargudi, which means the bright creeper-like woman who gave her garlands after wearing them. Andal was born in Srivilliputtur near Madurai with the birth star Puram and is the only female amongst the 12 Arvas. Andal was a treasure trove infant found in the Tulasi garden in the premises of the temple of Sri Vatapatra Sai. Vishnu Chitta, her father, more popularly known as Periyarvar, found her while tending the garden and brought her up as his child and named her Kodai. Andal grew up in holy surroundings, worshipping the deity and listening to holy discourses, Vedas, epics, bhajans, kirtans, etc. From her early childhood, she listened to the Leelas of Krishna with rapt attention and developed a deep love towards the Lord. Andal helped her father in weaving flower garlands to offer to the temple deity every day. One morning, Periyarvar observed Andal adorning herself with the flower garland intended for the deity and looking at herself into the mirror and enjoying the routine. He considered this as an act of sacrilege and with great anguish failed to offer the garland to the deity that day. The Lord appeared in his dream and informed him that he only relished the garland worn by Kodai and that in future only the flower garlands worn by Kodai be offered to him. Periyarvar realized the divinity in Kodai and from thence she was reputed as Andal, one who ruled Bhagwan, and Churi Gudutta Nachiyar, patroness who would offer flowers after adorning herself. It became a routine for Andal to wear the flower garland prior to offering to the deity. As Andal grew up, day by day, her love for Krishna also increased and she resolved to marry him. When Andal attained adolescence, Vishnu Chitta was amazed at her conviction to marry Krishna. She was advised to observe the Margari bath rituals, which was a custom of yore for marriageable girls to get choice husbands. Andal imagined herself as a cowgirl from the time of Sri Krishna, collecting all girls at Ayar party at dawn during the month of Margari, day after day, performing the rituals on the banks of river Yamuna and bathing the deity. This procedure, expressed lucidly in the 30 hymns, awakening her mates and proceeding to the riverbed with bhajan, kirtan and to bathe the deity is the theme of Tirupavai. Apart from Tirupavai, Andal also sung 143 hymns in Nachiyar Tirumuri, in which her expression of intense love to Krishna in varying moods of bridal love, tender hope, utter dejection, joyful triumph, woeful sorrow, and total surrender are depicted. Tirupavai is still recited by devotees during the winter festival season in the month of Margari. Andal concluded that Lord Krishna was none other than the deity of Sri Rangam, Lord Ranganatha, and chose him as her consort. Lord Ranganatha bade Periyarvar in a dream to bring Andal to Sri Rangam in bridal decoration. A palanquin duly decorated was sent from Sri Rangam temple as instructed by the Lord in a dream to the temple chief. King Vallabhadeva made elaborate arrangements, decorated the procession route and greeted Andal with music and other paraphernalia of a divine wedding. People cheered the procession and King Vallabha also joined the bridal party. Andal proceeded inside the sanctum sanctorum of the temple and became one with the Lord as she worshipped the lotus feet of the Lord. To the astonishment and the wonder of the people assembled, Andal's physical body merged with the deity of Lord Ranganatha. Now, let's look at another story. King Tondaiman was a benefactor of the Lord Venkateshwara temple in Tirupati, and he used to offer golden flowers to the Lord regularly. At the same time, there was a poor potter who was an ardent devotee of the Lord and would make flowers from his clay and offer it to the Lord with total devotion. The Lord accepted the clay flowers and rejected the flowers of gold, signifying his love for his true devotees. Now, let's explore the story of Shabari from the Ramayana. Shabari was a hunter's daughter and belonged to the Nishada tribal community. The night before her marriage, she saw that her father was buying hundreds of goats and sheep which were going to be sacrificed the following day for the marriage feast. Moved by compassion, in the early hours of the morning, she renounced the world and ran away to meet a spiritual master. After days of traveling, she met sage Matanga at the foothills of the mountain Rishyamukha and accepted him as a guru, serving him with utmost devotion. When her guru Matanga was about to attain samadhi, Shabari, now an old woman, expressed her desire that after serving him throughout her life, she now wanted to reach the same abode of peace as sage Matanga. The sage said that by virtue of her service, she will be blessed by Lord Ram, who shall give her darshan, and he asked her to wait for his arrival. Saying thus, the sage, sitting in lotus posture, attained Mahasamadhi. As per her guru's advice, Shabari waited for the arrival of Lord Ram. Every day, Shabari would go out of her ashram, clear the path of thorns and pebbles so that the Lord's feet will not get hurt. With the help of a walking stick, she would go and pluck berries for Lord Ram. She would pluck a fruit, first taste it, and if it was sweet, she would put it in her basket and discard the bitter ones. She wanted to give the sweetest fruits to Lord Ram. It never occurred to her that she should not be tasting the food intended for the Lord. Thus, collecting a few units, Shabari went back to her ashram and eagerly anticipated Lord Ram's arrival. Shabari is also commonly used as a metaphor for an endless wait for God. Even though hundreds of other yogis were waiting to receive Lord Rama in their ashrams, Rama went to Shabari's ashram because of her sincere devotion. On seeing Lord Rama, Shabari became ecstatic and said, "I do not have anything to offer other than my heart. But here are some berry fruits. I have tasted every berry to make sure they are the sweetest of berries for you. May it please you, my lord." Saying so, Shabari offered the fruits she had meticulously collected for Lord Rama. When Lord Rama was tasting the berries, Lakshmana raised the concern that Shabari had already tasted them, and therefore the berries were unworthy of eating. To this, Rama said that of the many types of food I have tasted, nothing could equal these berry fruits that have been offered with such love and devotion. Only if you taste them will you know. Whomsoever offers a fruit, leaf, flower, or some water with love, I partake with great joy. There were so many exalted yogis waiting for Lord Rama's darshan, but he went to see Shabari. This shows that the Lord neither sees whether a devotee is rich or poor, whether they live in a palace or a humble hut, whether the devotee is erudite or ignorant. Nor does he worry about caste or color. He sees only pure bhakti or true devotion. Now, let's look at the story of Periyathirumalai Nambi, who gave water to the Lord as his offering. Periyathirumalai Nambi, otherwise known as Sri Shailapurna, was an ardent disciple of Yamunacharya. He was the maternal uncle of Swami Ramanujacharya and Govinda Bhattar. He was also their mentor in their Purvashrama. Sri Shailapurna was one of the Pancha Acharyas or 5 mentors of Swami Ramanujacharya, who was recognized as Jagad Acharya. In his last days, when Nambi was very old, he still was doing his daily duties or kaingaryams of carrying water to Thiruvenkatamudayan in Tirupati. One day, a small boy came to Nambi and requested for water, while Nambi was carrying water in a pot as usual for Thiruvaradhanam. Nambi refused, saying that if he gives him water, he has to go to Akashganga to bring water afresh, and that he didn't have the strength to do the same. The boy told, Tata, oh my father, I am very thirsty, so please give me little water to quench my thirst. Nambi refused and proceeded towards the temple. The boy took a small stone and hit the pot at the back without Nambi realizing the same, and started to drink the water that poured out. As the weight decreased, Nambi realized the situation and got very upset. Upon that instance, the boy showed his manifestation as Lord Venkateshwara and gave darshan to Nambi. He then instructed him to fetch water from the Koneri Pushkarani that is close to the temple. From that day, Tirumalai Nambi is celebrated as Tatacharya. Sahishnuhu means the forgiver. Sahishnuhu also means one who is tolerant and forgiving the trespasses of everybody. The word Sahishnuhu is derived from Saha, which means to put up with or forgive. The affix Ishnuhu is added to indicate one's nature or one having a specific habit. Thus, it is his nature to forgive. The Yajurveda mantra says, Sahosi Sahu Mayidehi. Saha also means to suffer patiently. He is Sahishnu because he suffers patiently in his perfect detachment of all that is happening around him. He is just a mere witness. He continues to support this world without ever getting impatient. Nakshastapyate bhuri bharaha from Rigveda. Sahate also means conquers, and Sri Adi Shankara interprets this nama to mean that Bhagavan is Sahishnuhu because he conquers daityas such as Hiranyaksha. Sahishnu means one who can withstand any attacks on himself. As Adi Shankara puts it, Hiranyakshadin sahate abhibhavati iti Sahishnuhu. He is able to withstand attacks from asuras like Hiranyaksha and ultimately conquer them. Now, let's look at the story of Kalinganardanam. Kulasekara Arvar in his Perumal Tirumuri lists out some of the deeds of Balakrishna from Devaki's perspective as she missed out on Krishna's childhood. His Pasuram includes references to Kalinganardanam amongst Krishna's many leelas. Kundinal Kudegavithadum, Kolakkuravai Kottaduvum Kudamattum, Kandinal Vilaverindadum, Kalal Kaliyantalai Midithadum, Mudala Vendri Serbillai Nalvilayattam, Anaithilum Mangenulla Mulkulira, Ondrum Kandidapettilen, Adiyen Kanumari, Yeniyundenil Arule. Meaning, he held the Govardhana hill as an umbrella to protect the Gokulavasis. He danced with the Gopikas. He danced on pots turned upside down. He hurled the Asura who came as a calf, thereby knocking down the wood apples from the tree. He danced on Kalyan's hood. I have not seen any of these and other victorious child plays of yours. If there is any way that I, this lowly self, can see them now, please tell and satisfy me. Periyarvar in his Periyarvar Tirumuri sings this Pasuram. Kaliyan Poigai Kalangap Paindettu Avan, Neelmudi Aindilum Nindru Nadam Seidu, Meela Avanukku Arul Seida Vittagan, Tolvali Veerame Padipara, Thumani Vannane Padipara. This Pasuram is about the story of the most dreaded five-hooded snake Kaliyan and the exploit of Lord Krishna who jumped into the river and danced on the hood of the deadly snake, thereby turning the lake turbid, and when Kaliyan surrendered, he benevolently forgave him. Kaliyan, also known as Kalingan, was a poisonous naga living in the Yamuna river in Vrindavan. Over the years, the water had turned totally poisonous, thereby causing trouble to fish, cattle, birds, and all living things. Legend had it that Kaliyan had chosen that place as Garuda was prevented from entering there. Lord Krishna was playing with his cowherd friends and the ball fell into the water. Krishna playfully jumped into it. Kaliyan, seething with anger, rose up emitting poison and wrapped himself around Krishna's body. The folks around were mortally afraid and started screaming and praying. Lord Krishna subdued him and sprang onto his head and danced on its head. The serpent king's wife came and prayed to Lord Krishna with folded hands. Kaliyan too, recognizing the greatness of Krishna, surrendered and promised he would not harass anybody. Lord Krishna pardoned him and showed him the divine path once he vowed to eschew violence and fell at his lotus feet. Thus, the Lord once again shows his Karunya Bhava. Jagadajitaha means he who was born at the beginning of the universe. Jagat, Adi, Jataha, Jagatajitaha. It means somebody who manifested himself at the beginning of the universe. Adi Shankara interprets this as Hiranyagarbha Rupena Jagadadau Utpadyate Swayam iti Jagadajitaha. He appeared in the form of Hiranyagarbha, the golden primordial egg, at the beginning of the creation of the universe. That Vishnu was the firstborn among the gods is supported by the following from Mahabharata. Gatischanastvam purvajo jagataha prabhuhu rakshartham sarvabhutanam vishnustvam upajagmivan. Thou art our refuge, thou art the firstborn amongst gods, thou art the Lord of the universe. Thou did assume the role of Vishnu for the protection of all the worlds. Hiranyagarbha Suktam says, Hiranyagarbha samavartatagre bhutasya jataha patireka asit. Hiranyagarbha existed at the very beginning and he is the leader of all beings. Before the world got created, one who had the ability to create the world had to exist. Thus, Bhagavan existed before the world was created. Sri Chinmayananda points out that the manifestation of Bhagavan as Hiranyagarbha is the form where all the world objects is submerged after pralaya into him before the gross world emerges out again. This is the manifestation of Bhagavan as the Virat Atma. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse 8, Bhagavan says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattaha sarvam pravartate, meaning, I am the source of all creation and everything moves because of me. In chapter 10, verse 2 of Gita, he says, Ahamadirhi devanam maharshinam cha sarvasaha. I am earlier to all devas and all great sages. Anagaha means one who is sinless or uncontaminated. Agham means sin. So Anagaha is one who is pure and untouched by sin. In the words of Adi Shankara, Agham na vidyate asya iti anagaha. One who carries no sin. Chandogya Upanishad says, Apahata Papma, the sinless one. Though he resides in the midst of the samsara in his incarnations, he is untainted by sins. Because he is unattached, he is not contaminated by the effects of any actions. Several passages in the Shrutis refer to this attribute. Shuddham apapavidham yajurveda na punya pape mama. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 14, Bhagavan says, Namam karmani limpanthi name karma phale spruha, meaning, there is no karma that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. In the Mahabharata, Abhimanyu's son was stillborn and Uttara pleads to Krishna to save the child. Krishna says to Uttara, O Uttara, I never utter an untruth. My words will prove true. I shall revive this child in the presence of all creatures. Never before have I uttered an untruth, even in jest. Never have I turned back from the battle. By merits of those acts, let this child revive. As righteousness is dear to me, by the merit of that disposition of mine, let Abhimanyu's son, who is born dead, revive. Never hath a misunderstanding arisen between me and my friend Arjuna. Let this dead child revive by that truth. As truth and righteousness are always established in me, let this dead child of Abhimanyu revive by the merit of these. As Kansa and Kesi have been righteously slain by me, let this child revive today by that truth. After these words were uttered by Vasudeva, that child became animate and began gradually to move, and thus Krishna demonstrated that he is pure and untainted, or he is Anaga. Vijayaha means he is victory incarnate. Vijayaha means a winner. Adi Shankara says, Vijayate jnana vairagya aishwarya adibihi gunaihi vishvam iti vijayaha. He wins over the world with his intellect, detachment, power, and his noble qualities, hence he is Vijayaha. Vividam Viseshena va Jayati iti Vijayaha. One who wins over everything in different and special ways. He is Sat, Chit and Ananda Rupa, and thus controls everything including the Prakriti and Jivas. Or he excels in everything, Jnana, Vairagya, Aishwarya, etc. Sri Parasara Bhattar points out that he is Vijayaha because he controls everything that happens in this world, including the creation and destruction. Tada darshita panthano srishti samhara karakao. Guided by him in the right way, Brahma and Rudra carry out the task of creation and destruction, so's Mahabharatam Moksha. Jetha means the conqueror. As Adi Shankara puts it, Jayati Atishete Sarvabhutani Swabhavata iti Jeta. He conquers or captivates everybody with his nature. Sarvam Jagatsa Jayati iti Jeta. He is Jeta because nothing can ever happen that is not his will. One who has Satyam or truth as his Thiraguna or nature can never have any failure or defeat. Let's look at the story of Banasura. Banasura, a mighty Asura, once ruled over a large kingdom. So strong and fierce was his influence that all the kings and even some of the gods shuddered in front of his might. He was an ardent devotee of Lord Shiva, and he used his 1,000 arms to play the mridanga when Lord Shiva was performing the Tandava Nrityam. Shiva gave Banasura a boon, and he requested Lord Shiva to be his protector. Banasura became invincible as a result of the boon. As time passed, Banasura became cruel and arrogant. He locked up his daughter Usha in a fortress called Agnigraha because many young suitors came to him asking for her hand. One day, Usha saw a young man in her dream and fell in love with him. Chitralekha was a friend of Usha and daughter of Kumbandha, a minister of Banasura. Chitralekha was a talented artist who helped Usha to identify the young man in her dream by sketching various portraits. Usha had dreamt of Aniruddha, the grandson of Lord Krishna. Chitralekha, through her supernatural powers, abducted Aniruddha from the palace of Krishna and brought him to Usha. Aniruddha and Usha were married in a major temple of the area, but Aniruddha was held as a captive. Lord Krishna came to the rescue of Aniruddha. A great battle ensued between Banasura and Lord Krishna. Lord Shiva came to protect his devotee Banasura with his Ganas and sons Ganesha and Kartikeya. Krishna invoked Jrambunastra and put Lord Shiva to sleep and prevailed over the rest. The story of Banasura ends with his defeat at the hands of Lord Krishna, who severed all the 1,000 arms of the demon, sparing only 2 of them at the request of Lord Shiva, who sought Lord Krishna to spare the life of the Asura. Banasura asked for the forgiveness of the Lord and he was allowed to live. Hence, Bhagavan is Jetha as he conquers all. Vishvayonihi means that he is the cause of the universe. Vishvayonihi can be interpreted in 3 different ways. The first is Vishvasya Sakalasya Yonihi Karanam Vishvayonihi. He is the source of everything. The second meaning is Vishvam Yonihi Yasyaha Vishvayonihi. He has the world as his cause. This is because he has the world as the trigger for his birth. That is, he manifests himself in various incarnations depending on the condition of this world. The third interpretation is Vishvascha Asau Yonischa Vishvayonihi. He is both the world and its cause. The world and its cause cannot be separated from each other and both are nothing but aspects of Bhagavan. Punarvasuhu means one who lives again and again as the Antaratma of all his creation. He is the Antaratma of all the other gods whom he creates for different functions, beginning with Rudra and Brahma. In Moksha Dharma, in Mahabharata, we have Indra saying to Rudra, Tav Antaratma Mama Chaye Chanye Dehi Samyitaha. He is the inner soul of yourself and myself, as well as those who are called the released souls. Adi Shankara says, Punaha Punaha Sharireshu Vasati Kshetragya Rupena iti Punarvasuhu. He is called Punarvasuhu because he lives in each living being as the knower within or the Antaratma. It can also mean that he is Punarvasuhu because he recreates the world with the sun, moon, stars, etc. the same way all over again after each pralaya or deluge. As Rigveda puts it, Surya Chandra Masau Dhata Yatha Purvam Akalpayat Divam Cha Prithivim Cha Antariksham Atosvaha. Interestingly, Punarvasuhu is also one of the 27 stars and is the birth star of Sri Rama. Hari Om Tat Sat.